I think one of the things that the school does really well is give kids hope and realize that there are places in the world where they can fit in.
Well, if you want to go all the way back, we can start with kind of daycare and preschool situations, and he had a lot of trouble being able to stay in daycares because he would tend to be the one that was more rambunctious and had behavior issues. So he struggled through elementary school. I mean, he was invited to one birthday party in kindergarten and he was never invited to another one. He didn't have any friends. Nobody would hang out with him. He kind of got dropped into a new school. He didn't know anybody. His sister was there, but he crashed and burned.
Well, at first I was like, I didn't really care. I just like wanted to leave the schools and like get out of the school. So sometimes I would run away from school because it was really boring or I was really angry. He
got into a lot of trouble, so they put him in the behavior room and kept him in there. Basically, with most of the kids in there would sit and throw pencils at each other's faces.
That is when I started being thought of as evil. I've been described as the thug. One of the more religious kids called me Satan.
It was a hard year. He had self-esteem issues because that was such a big piece. You know, was not feeling like anybody wants or cares.
Well, his elementary years were, you know, really, I would say really great.
For me it was, you know, it was like, okay, here's school and you go to school with mom and come home with mom, and I knew he was safe.
When he got to be around 4th or 5th grade, and of course that gap, it really widens with kids with ASD. Their peers really, I think, know they're different. Thomas certainly became very aware that he was different.
Kids didn't want to, you know, sit by him or want him to be his partner, and he, you know, he just didn't like it.
We just were so afraid he was going to get the kid being shoved into the locker. You know, he was going to be the kid whose books were smashed. We had certainly talked to him about autism, and we had talked about it in a positive way. You know, that it was just a different way of thinking, and about all the great people in history that thought differently and what they accomplished because of how their brain worked differently, but it really still wasn't enough for him. It wasn't enough.
A lot of schools get into, in order to survive, figure out what services they do very well and then try to fit the students into the services they do very well. We're just doing the opposite. We're trying to look at each individual student so that every student gets the services they need. We have primarily, or 95% of our students are on IEPs, but we use a gen ed model, meaning they go out into the mainstream and attend regular classes. So we work gen ed and special ed hand in hand. That for every subject we have a special ed teacher who works with the gen ed teacher. Since I've been here, we've had our first school dance, and now we have 3 dances. We had our first prom last year. We had our first graduating class last year, which then led us into our first extended 12th grade transition program.
Work-based learning. It's an opportunity for students to gain skills in the area of work, plainly put, but it's all aspects of work. So it would include everything from learning about different types of jobs, learning about students' own interests, and then the type of finesse that's needed in the workplace.
We got a card in the mail from Lionsgate, and I, to this day, swear it was a total God thing, that God put that there in our face, and because he kept saying, well, you can't make me go anywhere else. You can't make me go to this place.
Thomas goes to social skills out in the community for a place called West Metro. And we had seen on the bulletin board a thing for Lionsgate. It was a little thing a parents group was starting to start up this school, and so we were watching it, you know, online all the time, checking in, seeing the progress.
You give me 2 full weeks. If you get accepted to go there, you give me 2 full weeks, and if you absolutely do not want to be there, then I will transfer you or bring you back to the public school.
And I came home from work and got the mail, and there was something from Lionsgate. And I didn't even wait to get home because the mailbox is down the street. I just ripped it open. And when I opened that letter and saw that we got in, I just thought, I honestly don't need anything else in the world to ever happen to me. Like, this was the best thing that could have ever happened.
I was very cautious when I asked him how things were going the first week or so because I didn't want to, jinx it. And then pretty soon he was saying, I kind of like it there. I said, oh, what do you like about it, And he said, you know what, they totally get me.
The teachers care on an individual level. And sometimes it might not even be in their own classroom. They come into the classroom to see if you're okay.
At least I get a few adults, at least get adults to help me, even some of the lessons I don't know, and they usually do demonstrations with the whole class. And I'm more of a visual learner.
The one class I have a lot of trouble with is math. If I needed time, they gave me time. If I needed help, they gave me help. If I needed them to stay after on a Wednesday, she stayed after on a Wednesday.
Well, my favorite part of the day is art. Well, it's like where I can get my creativity loose. Well, at least I get to use my imagination.
He gets up in the morning, we go to school, and he's able to, he's involved. He comes home, he's talking about school more. The clubs, the being able to do something after school that he likes to do, the improv, that's something right there. I don't think Thomas ever would have stood in front of a room full of 200 people and told jokes.
Every year he writes a letter to the staff that tells, how he feels about them and his experience here.
Dear teachers of Lionsgate, I just want every one of you to know that this has been one of the best years I've had at one of the best schools I've had. I have met most of you before the school year began, and I liked you all, I just wouldn't admit it. But I've grown to regard you all as family. Mostly because we have our sour moments and we have our golden hours, but all in all, when you look at the big picture, we are just one big family. The amazing teachers here have all inspired me to do something productive with my life. There are many other people who have inspired me to change from overly aggressive to someone who is caring, a friend in need, and has gone from a heart of stone to a heart of gold. Again, I will say to those of you that are leaving, I hope your lives are fruitful and full of hope. To those of you who are staying, I hope the next school year will be as great as this one. Sincerely, Joey Para.